Hi folks, welcome to the Prepared Homestead. This is Travis. Thank you all for stopping by to watch. Well, today I'm here to talk about your money and how you have less of it, but most importantly, how it has much less purchasing power. There's this thing that they call inflation, and while it does, basically mean that prices of things have increased, okay? But what really has increased is the value of your money. It's becoming less and less and less valuable. You have less purchasing power, and it's a way of stealing your money. It's another form of taxation. The inflation numbers, they spit them out every month, and everyone looks at it, and it goes up just a few percentage points, or huge tenths of a percentage point usually. And we look at that and we're like, oh, that's bad. That's bad. Currently it's 7.9% is the official inflation rate. And probably here in a few days, they'll spit out a new inflation rate that'll be higher than that. And everyone will be, oh man, inflation is up. Well, folks, inflation is up way higher than that, and I have been saying that for a long time now, and so have many, many others. And it's interesting that 6 months ago, when folks like myself were saying inflation is way higher than what they're telling us, well, that was considered a conspiracy. And now, more and more mainstream people are saying, this official inflation rate is not correct, because there's just too many products and too many things out there that the numbers are way higher than what they're telling us. I mean, they're saying it's 7.9%. There's nothing that's only inflated 7.9%. It's kind of like other things, the time distance between a conspiracy and the fact is becoming less and less, and now it's about 3 days, I think. But anyways, so today I want to talk about that and how they're stealing your money, and how that's what all this great reset and how the health crisis and now this big bad war in Europe, it's all part of their plan to take away from you and put it into their pockets, to take your wealth, which in turn takes your ability to be independent, because they don't really care about the actual wealth, because they already own all that, because the only wealth that most of us own is in a fiat currency, which they know themselves is not wealth. Okay, they don't care about them $1 bills and $10 bills and all that. They don't care about those ones and zeros on your bank statement. It's that if, as long as you have that, you have the ability to be self-sufficient. You have a ability to not be dependent upon them. And that's what they want. They want control of us. They don't care about your wealth. They own all that. They have vaults filled with gold, and they own the vast majority of the land. I said a week or so ago on here that the top 15 wealthiest landowners on the planet own about 20% of the Earth's surface. No joke, folks. That 20% of the usable land on this entire planet is owned by the top 15 landowners. So they already own it all. What they want is they want control of you. And by taking your wealth, that's one big way that they can control you. And so that's what this is all about. I mean, the World Economic Forum just tells you like it is. They say, oh, you'll own nothing and you'll be happy. Don't worry about it. Give up everything that you own. Give it all to us and we'll take care of you. You won't have to worry about making payments on stuff, and you won't have to worry about that. You just give it all to us and you'll be happy. This is all part of their plan. And the part of this plan is when they tell you these ridiculous monthly inflation numbers that are complete lies. They're just not true at all. You can look at maybe how a price has increased over the past 30 days. And you're like, oh, well, that's not too much. I mean, this can of corn only went up, 4 cents over the past 30 days. But if it's going up 4 cents every 30 days, then how much has it gone up over a period of 1 year? What about a period of 2 years? How much has it gone up? It's gone up a lot. And that's where they're sticking it to you, is because they know that the American people are so narrow-minded and only focus on the immediate. We have this attention deficit, okay, that we're just, it's like we're not capable anymore of staying focused on something long-term. I personally believe it's because of a lot of the media and education and manipulation over the last several decades, but that's a story for another video. What I believe is happening is that they're banking on the fact that the vast majority of Americans forget what happened 6 months ago, a year ago, 2 years ago, and they're just focused on the now. And so when they go to the store and they're like, wow, you know, this loaf of bread's a whole dime more than what I paid last month. That stinks, but you know, it's only a dime. I mean, it's not going to make me go broke over a dime. How much is that loaf of bread 2 years ago? Okay, go back to when the whole health crisis started and compare prices to then, and look at how much of your wealth is being taken from you. How much? Does anyone really know? Do we remember that far back? Most of us try, but have a difficulty to. When the whole health crisis first started, 2 years ago, the thing that I talked about on one of my videos is I said this will be, and I don't make predictions hardly ever, but I did this time. I predicted that what we were about to see was going to be the biggest transfer of wealth in human history. And I believe that's true. Look at all the top billionaires. People like Elon Musk that's doubled and tripled his wealth in the last 2 years. People that they all of them have increased their wealth by tens of billions of dollars. Has your wealth increased by that kind of percentage rate in the last 2 years? Most of you are going to say no. Some of you have maybe making more money now, but most, it's probably not going to be a lot of difference, especially when you include the cost of just living. And it's going to get worse. They're saying that inflation, if you look at it, Bloomberg, they're talking about it. They're warning people that this inflation thing, it's going to get bad. And the prices, food prices, it's going to get bad. BlackRock president I mentioned yesterday, he's saying, buckle up, folks. If you read the interview that he gave, or the speech that he gave, it was, I believe, in Austin, Texas a few days ago. And he was telling people that Americans are going to see inflation and food shortages like they've never seen before. And this guy is someone that's in the know, you know, the president of BlackRock. And he's telling people, you need to buckle up because it's going to get bad. They're even the most mildest and the most mainstream of experts are saying that we will see at least 2 to 3 more quarters of prices increases and food shortages, at least at the minimum. And we might see at least a couple of more years. And those are the more mainstream ones, the ones that are just kind of towing the party line, so to speak. And many of us know that this is getting out of control, and that the possibility of us going into a hyperinflation is becoming more and more realistic. And I believe that they're wanting that to happen. I believe they want to crash the dollar because they flat out tell us that they want to bring about this new digital currency, and they want to do it quick. And as we've said on here many times before, the only way that they can really make that a successful transition is by crashing the US dollar. They want to get it out of play. And they're doing a good job of it. So I was crunching some numbers, and you can get online and you can find all this. They're not right out in front of you. You have to do the math. But what you can do is you can look at various commodity prices and prices of different goods over a period of years. And so I went back and compared the current price of something right now in the market versus what it was valued at in March of 2020. So 2 years ago, folks, 2 years ago. And remember, that was about the start, the real start of all of this. I mean, it was already being done. The wheels had already started turning, but by 2 years ago, it was really coming in on us. So I want to give you some numbers, and some of these numbers are going to be so high, you're not going to believe me. You're going to say, you are smoking something, man. There's no way that the price of that has increased that high of a percentage in only 2 years. But just go out and do the math yourself. Okay, look it up online, see what the price was March of 2020, and compare it to the price of what it is March of 2022. And then if you can't do the math on your own, you can look up a percentage of calculator online, and you put in the numbers and it'll show you what the percentage difference is. So let me give you some. Oil, crude oil. Now this is what it is on the market value. Crude oil has increased by 176% since March of 2020. 176%, that's what crude oil has gone up. Coal has gone up 740%. 740% coal has gone up. Natural gas, has gone up 200% since March of 2020. Wholesale gasoline has gone up 395% since March of 2020. 395%. Now, you may not be absorbing all of those price increases directly, but you are indirectly. You're absorbing it through shrinkflation. You're absorbing it through the devaluation of your currency. It's trickling down, folks. Trickle-down economics is a real thing. And I assure you, if an oil company is having to pay 176% more to purchase the oil to refine it into gasoline, and the gas company that you buy your gasoline directly from is having to pay 395% more than it did 2 years ago, you're going to pay for that eventually. Lumber prices, and we've talked about this before, and most of you homesteaders and people wanting to build, it's just ridiculous, the cost to build anything anymore. Lumber prices have gone up 265% since March of 2020. 265%. Steel has gone up 47% since March of 2020. Let's look at some food. Wheat has gone up 103% since March of 2020. Corn has gone up 120% since March of 2020. Sugar, 83%. Milk, 74%. Beef, 57%. And poultry, 73%. I would just about bet the farm that none of you can find a commodity price of anything that has only gone up 7.9%, or that has gone up only in the low double digits. They've all gone up just extremely a lot of money. Has your value, are you making that much more money in the last 2 years? The average person gets 2 to 3% cost of living pay increase every year. And occasionally you get a pay raise because you've been promoted or some other reason. But are you making 103% more than you were 2 years ago? Are you making 74% more than you were of March in 2020? Are you making 740% more in salary than you were March of 2020? I would say that the vast majority of you are going to say no. The vast majority. They're saying that this year, and these are their estimates, okay? That when I say their, this is the same people that are saying that the inflation rate is only 7.9%. So when I give you this number here in a second, I want you to keep that in mind, that the people that are telling you this is how much more it's going to cost to live this year, it's pretty much the same people that are telling you that the inflation rate is only 7.9% currently. They're saying that the cost of living for 2022 is going to increase at a rate at about $450 a month, or at the end of the year it's going to turn out to be somewhere between $5,100 and $5,500 a year just to live. We're talking housing, heating, electricity, fuel costs, and food costs. Almost $5,500 a year. Now think about that, folks. How many of you can make it if just the cost of living has increased by over $5,000 in 1 year? How many of you can afford over $400 a month in extra expenses right now? Some of you can, and even those of you that can, it's still going to hurt. But how many of you are living paycheck to paycheck? How many of you have barely, if you're lucky, $20 to your name the day before you get paid again? And now you're going to add another $400 to $500 a month on top of that? That's how it's going to destroy America. That's how they're going to own nothing and be happy. You're not going to be able to afford to own anything. You're not going to have a choice because they're going to take it all from you. Between all of the price increases, the increases of taxes, and they're just saying more and more. I mean, they're wanting to add more taxes on top of to farmers for their farming. Here we are dealing with one of the greatest, if not the greatest, food shortages of our nation's history, and the Biden administration is wanting to impose new taxes on farmers. They announced today that they're wanting to impose new taxes on oil industry to get them to produce more. So we're going to tax them more. Well, who do you think is going to end up paying for all those taxes? They're not going to absorb them themselves. It's going to trickle down to you. So this nightmare, this crisis of inflation, this crisis of the devaluation of our currency, This crisis of increased costs of goods and of shortages, it's not going to end anytime too soon. It's really just beginning, folks. And it's going to get really bad. And they're not telling you that. They don't want you to know that because they don't want you to panic. They just want you to get to finally a place that you realize that you can't afford to own anything. And then you'll hand over every bit of rights that you have to them because they'll take care of you. They'll give you your universal basic income. They'll set you up in government housing in their big cities with their big high rises. And you'll give up your car and your freedoms and everything else, and they'll take care of you. That's what they want. They want to own you. They want to own every bit of you. And that's their goal. I don't make that up. It's not a conspiracy. It's what they actually say. Just watch a few World Economic Forum videos. They flat out say these things, folks. Folks, I don't say all this to scare you. I say this to hopefully wake you up and to let you know that it's way worse than it is. And so don't relax and don't listen to the things that they say and say, well, I mean, yeah, 7.9% inflation isn't great, but I mean, we can still make it on that. We just won't have as much playing around money. You're not going to have any playing around money, folks. You're barely going to have any money to just live. And that's the way they want it, because they want to absorb all your wealth. They're transferring the wealth from the middle class and what was left of the bottom class into their pockets. And they're going to create an even larger gap between the elites and us little peasants. And that's what they want. Folks, get yourselves ready. Stock up everywhere you can. It's getting harder even now. In our TPH Network website, we've been talking about how it's becoming harder and harder just in the last week or two just to purchase wheat. Suppliers are running out, and there's only a few places that are still selling just, wheat berries. And that's just one item. It's getting worse in a lot of areas, and it's only going to get worse. I mean, when they tell us that it's going to get worse, you should probably listen, because it's most likely going to get way worse than what they're saying. Get your houses in order, folks. Prepare yourselves mentally, physically, and most especially spiritually. Thank you for watching. I'll catch you in the next video.